Hey guys, Little John here. Today we're going to be looking at goblet squats. Goblet squats are a great exercise that not only improves the strength and stability of all of the muscles in your lower extremity, particularly your glutes, your quads, your hamstrings, your calves, but it also challenges the stability of your core and of your shoulders since we're holding the weight up at chest level. So this is a great exercise for a full body kind of challenge to improve your strength and your stability. To get started, I am going to grab my dumbbell here. You can either use a dumbbell or a kettlebell, but regardless, if you're using the dumbbell, the hold's a little bit different. I'm gonna have my palms hooking underneath the weight and then my fingers clasped on top. And then this bottom part of the weight hangs free, but this weight isn't going anywhere. If it's a kettlebell that you're using, you can just hold it on either side. It feels a little bit more natural. But from here, I'm going to have my legs about hip width apart with my toes, or my feet turned slightly out. This allows that hip to have a little bit more freedom of movement, which is really important as we try and go as low as possible. So we're going parallel to the floor / our femur or a little bit lower. Now, the key for this is to make sure that I am moving from my hips. I'm starting the movement from my hips and hip hinging rather than starting from my knees, okay? We'll go over that a little more into why a little bit later, as well as what it kind of looks like. So from here, I'm going to hinge from my hips, and I'm gonna think of sitting down my pelvis between my heels, all right? The weight stays at my chest, and then I bring myself back up. You don't have to hang out that low. You're just gonna come down and then come up. If I were to move from my knees and come down, I can still get very low, if not further, but now the angle of my tibia has changed. And I know it's kind of tough from this, but my knee is really far forward. Now, if I were to stand back up, now all of that weight is coming from my quad, or excuse me, all the force is coming from my quads and my knees, which puts a lot more stress on my knees when it really should be coming through my glutes, my hamstrings, and just moving from my hips in general. And you can tell it's not an easy exercise because I'm already out of breath. Just to show you what it looks like from the side, because it's a little bit easier to see the knee angle as well as me moving from my hips. If I were to move from my hips and hip hinge, coming down and then back up, you can see the hips start the movement rather than if I were to move from my knees. Now you can see this angle that's a little bit more extreme than if I'm moving from my hips, right? Which, I mean, my tibia still comes forward. It has to, and to allow for me to get this low and to perform the exercise, but I shouldn't be this far forward, okay? Because then, now, if I'm here, I'm gonna be pushing through my knees and my quads, whereas if I'm back, now I can push through my glutes and get myself up through my hips. Again, making sure that you're hinging from your hips, the knees bend as a result of the hips, not in initiating the movement. And when your knees do bend, they track to the outside part of your foot. Those are gonna be the biggest keys for you as you perform this exercise, along with keeping this weight at your chest.